Hello, fam. Welcome to another edition of our virtual book club. I'm glad you decided to join us today. Today, sharing with us, we got another author that's going to be a blessing to everybody. I want you to welcome, for the first time on the virtual book club, Kenny Hampton is with us today. Kenny, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I can't. If I could be any better, I tell you what, I'd be shocked. But hey, I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Trying to survive COVID-19, right? Trying to
Right,
trying
right,
to make it in the house, safer at
right.
home. Yeah.
I hear
So
you.
so tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you come from and where you are now.
Well, I'm a kid born and raised in the city of Detroit.
Okay.
I grew up a PK,
All
and
right. Cool.
for most, I don't have to explain what that is, but I'll go ahead and tell a little bit about what that is. That's actually a
Right.
pastor kid or a preacher's kid.
Right.
And I grew up with, aspirations to be a professional athlete and wanting to take care of mom and dad and kind of get us out of that childhood home that we were living in.
Okay.
But oldest of four, and took pride in being a leader and being like more of a mentor to my baby sister and my younger brothers. And found myself going to Kentucky State University on a baseball scholarship.
Okay.
Played 4 years of baseball, had a pro opportunity that I didn't ultimately pursue, and ended up making a pivot to play football at Kentucky State, a
Okay.
sport that I never played organized because my parents kept me away from it. They didn't want me to get an injury. So
Wow.
it was just an interesting dynamic that I could play the sport at a high level, but I was just kept away from it. So when I had my opportunity in college to do so, I did it. And my goal was to be a professional football player. So I pursued it as hard as I could until life one day told me that it's no more. It's not happening. So
Cool.
I had to fall back on my degree in computer science and got a job because I ended up coming out of Kentucky State. My wife and I now, with my girlfriend at the time, we conceived our first child, Kennedy Cherie, my senior year of college.
Okay.
So, having to juggle that responsibility. And then 2 years later, she and I decided to get married. And to this day, we're going on year 13, and we got
Cool.
two amazing kids. Our daughter Kennedy just graduated from middle school, and she's going on to high school. She's a basketball player, and our son KJ, he's 7. He'll be 8 in the fall, and
Cool.
we're just doing all we can to survive right now and be safe in this
Okay.
unprecedented time.
Yeah.
But it's been great to quarantine with some folks that I actually like and love, and we've been doing well. So
Good.
I'm excited to get this book out of my system and see what
Good.
God has in store for it to really bless some people with this message.
Good. Now is KJ following in your footsteps with sports and
Yeah. So the thing is, and it's funny because he loves football.
okay.
I'm probably going to hold him out of contact football, like
Right.
tackle, until maybe middle school and above, or possibly high school. So
Okay.
he'll definitely play flag
Okay.
But yeah, man, I mean, every day is probably 50 to 70 passes being thrown between he and I.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
he just loves it. He loves the
Good.
sport.
Good. 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 All right, man. So let's talk about the book. The book is called The Underdog Mentality. And how did this come about? How did you come to it? What was the process like? How did we get to actually publishing your book?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I didn't grow up thinking I was going to be an author. Like my only
Right.
goal that I ate, slept, and drank was being a professional athlete.
Okay.
But I will tell you that God found He came to me when I would say probably like the second year of battling depression.
Okay.
I would have been married 10 years at the time. And if you look at my family and you look at what we have on social media, you'll think, oh, he has the perfect family. Such a beautiful family. And he's got so much going on. He got a great life. And yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
But behind closed doors, I hated who I was. I
Wow.
literally would cry myself to sleep at night after my wife and kids would go to bed
Mm-hmm.
because I was living a life that I didn't dream I would live. But I have reminders, right? So we live in Columbus, Ohio. My family are back in Detroit. When I would go back to Detroit, it would be a constant reminder that I failed.
Okay.
It would be a constant reminder that I let my parents down, even though they didn't look at me as a failure, but I was just beating myself up internally with that guilt and that regret. And so until one day I just told God, like, come on, man, what you want me to do with the rest of my life? Because I'm just not happy at all. And he made it very clear to me, just in a subtle voice, to go to Romans 8:28. So I did. I said, okay, yeah, I understand that all things have work together for my good.
Right.
And I see how that this applies to my life. But what you want me to do with this? And he asked me to go back to it. So I went back to it, and it hit me right in the face that I was born on 8:28. So
Wow.
that's more of like a purpose verse in my life. Like I was created to sow that message into the lives of others.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, I can do this. Like now I'm excited about life again. So I stopped allowing regret, and I stopped allowing anxiety and identity crisis to kind of beat me up. And I started writing, I started journaling how every day I was getting better with being okay with who I was, because I knew that God, he had something in store for me.
Okay.
And I started writing the book. And it took me about a year and a half to write the book. And the book actually was named 8 Steps to a Together, 8 Steps to Developing a Together Mindset.
Okay.
But you walk past that and you see that on the cover, you probably like,
Walk past it, yeah.
what is it? So
Right.
my mentor, man, shout out to my mentor, Sean Blanchard out of
Okay.
Detroit, man. He has a program called Author Speaker Secrets.
Okay.
And I got connected with him, and he really gave me the framework for writing a book.
Cool.
And he said, I think there's something deeper in your story that we can title this book with.
Okay.
And we bounced some things back and forth. And the book that's over my shoulder, the Mamba Mentality by Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
we both saw that and said, hey, let's do the Underdog Mentality.
Cool. Cool.
And so the book is called The Underdog Mentality, Keys to Defeating Life's Giants, because it parallels my life and David's life with his battles with battle against Goliath and just things that he went through that is applicable to being an underdog. So we're all about trying to have minimal resources, but declaring victory boldly, that victory is ours. And through this book, God has been able to allow so many people to be helped by believing that they can be victorious against things that may be a giant in their lives.
Cool. Now give me a couple of the keys. I know we don't want to give all the secrets out, but but give me a couple of keys to defeating the giants that we face.
Yeah, so one of the keys that I have, because the word underdog is broken down as an acronym.
Okay.
Right. So like, for example, chapter 1, the letter U is understand your purpose. You know, why did God create you? We were created for a specific reason to obtain a specific goal. Okay. So there's things that we're going to go through that God is wanting to use to attract others to what's possible when you really put your faith and trust in him.
Okay.
And so I really go deep into challenging the audience to really find out what it is that you're passionate about, because sometimes you might not know your purpose. Right. But that doesn't mean that we can't connect whatever you're passionate about
Right.
to ultimately leading you to your purpose.
Cool.
But if you do know your purpose, then we move into chapter 2, which is nurture your purpose.
Okay.
Letter N. So
Okay.
David, if you really look at it, like David was a shepherd, and David did a phenomenal job being a shepherd. But to others, David looked like he was the run of the group of his
Right.
brothers, and he wasn't. David was chosen. David was the chosen one to be king. But David made sure that if he was going to be a shepherd, he was going to do it at the highest level.
Cool.
So people miss out the opportunity to realize that David just didn't defeat Goliath because he said, "Hey, because of God or because of the powers in me, I'm gonna defeat Goliath."
Right.
David had the reps.
Right. He had.
David actually slayed a
receipts.
bear,
Right.
and he slayed a lion.
Right. Right.
So if you look at your life, and I look at my life,
Mhm.
there's been some things that we've overcome and we've been victorious against.
Mhm.
That we have to look at our next giant, our next challenge, our next hurdle, and say, mm-mm. Like in chapter, I believe 7, it says, declare victory boldly for
Right.
the letter D.
Right.
We have to begin to declare victory boldly
Okay.
and go into the next letter, which is O, is outbrave every giant in your life. So those are some of the
Outbrave.
keys that can get you excited about wanting to dive into the underdog mentality, because it's loaded with nuggets to let you know that God ultimately has amazing things in store for all of us. But
Yeah.
we just got to believe that with them and through his powers, we can be victorious against any obstacle.
Cool. Now, being a brother, we know that the young men are facing a lot of challenges nowadays.
Yeah.
If it ain't, police brutality or systematic racism and, injustice and all that stuff, we still have a lot of young men who are fighting each other, right? We're killing each other.
Yeah.
What do you say to, the black young man who may be feeling like an underdog because of his situation and, because of what he's dealing with on a daily basis? How do
Yeah.
you encourage, the young brothers that I know you mentor and things like that? So how do you encourage them in times like this?
Yeah. I've really been sowing the opportunity or the idea to take this time to be obedient.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, cleaning out the closet sometimes is what I like to say to some of my mentees,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of clutter that we may carry or that we have, a lot of baggage that's weighing us down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that oftentimes we really underestimate the power in getting mess out of our lives.
Okay.
There's things that we know that we shouldn't be doing right now.
Right.
And that goes for any man. That goes
Right.
for the older man. That goes for the
Right.
married man, the single
Right.
man.
Right.
But during this time, we didn't sign up for COVID-19 and we didn't sign up for this pandemic, but God placed this in our paths for a specific reason. But he's also done it at a time where he's required us to be still,
Mm-hmm.
to be still and not be as active as we once were prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really think he's wanting to get our attention.
Right.
And it's kind of like Deontay Wilder, when Deontay Wilder went through that fight with Tyson Fury the last time.
Yeah.
His manager did what? He threw in the towel.
Right.
And Deontay was mad, like, I'd
Right.
rather die on my sword.
Right.
But I look at that like my relationship with God, like, hold on, wait a minute. There's
Mm-hmm.
situations that he's like, I'm throwing in the towel on what you were doing,
Right.
because had you continued to do it,
You
it could have cost you your life.
Yeah.
So I want you to take a time out, because here's the thing. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had an agreement that both sides can demand a rematch and you have to honor it by the contract.
Right.
So his manager knew that. Hey,
Right.
we might have lost tonight.
Right. We'll live to fight another day.
But we're gonna live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And God is doing that with us right now. So I've been really encouraging our young folk to be prepared for that, because once this passes us by, God
Mm-hmm.
is like, all right, I'm ready to go. You
Mm-hmm.
should be ready too.
Right.
Are you ready to go out here and win? Are you ready to go out here and play some giants?
Right.
Let's go.
Right. Being from Detroit, we understand the struggles of the street, right?
Yeah.
How would you overcome the giant of street life that we see every day, where young people are choosing, to go that route, as opposed to the, trying to make it successfully, through school and college and all those things. How do we change their mentality from I don't know if it's glamorous to them or what the draw is,
Yeah.
but that's the example, right? That they're seeing more than us who, may be, quote unquote in the house. How do we get them to change their view of the street life?
Yeah. Well, the first thing you have to do is ask yourself, what is it that you really want out of life?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that most times our youth, they're chasing after these instant gratification.
Right.
They wanna keep up with what they see, not understanding that there's a price that these young folks are paying for these things that they've obtained,
Yeah.
or these or the different materialistic things that they have. It wasn't obtained with sometimes, most times, legitimate efforts or legitimate bodies of work.
Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself, like, what do you ultimately want? Because if you go down that path,
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple of scenarios that I don't think that you really want to run the risk of finding yourself in. One is death,
Yeah.
and second is jail.
Right.
So we understand that the road is wide with people that are wanting to do things in the streets and do things that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks great. It looks cool. I know it looks appealing,
Mm-hmm.
but the road is narrow for those that are deciding to, nah, I'm gonna play this the more obedient route, the safer route. Because if you embrace, and here's another step, is embracing the opportunity to be a servant leader, knowing that somebody else is watching you.
Okay.
Do
Cool.
you really care about your siblings or your cousins or your loved ones enough to run the risk of going out here and doing something silly that can cause them a lifetime of grief and pain?
Right.
Or would you rather um, keep them in mind and say, nah, I can't roll with y'all, fellas, because there's things that I ultimately want to do for them, that if I go out here and do that, it jeopardizes me obtaining these goals that I have for my life to really make a difference in my home. Even though my home might be in the hood,
Mm-hmm.
I still want to take care of my loved ones the right way. So embracing servant leadership actually is one of the chapters. That's what the E stands for in the underdog mentality.
Cool. 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 Now, being that you played sports and you've been in it, you kind of you know your way around it. Most young people, they think they the next superstar. Everybody is next, and the reality is everybody can't make it, right? How,
Right.
how do you how do you navigate between those who are really gifted and they got the gift but not the 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 uh the mentality that you speak of to
Yeah.
really go for that next level, and those who just you like playing, but you really you might want to consider what is your other purpose, right? Because
Right.
playing on your
Right.
your own pal league ain't the same as playing in
Nah.
the national league. So how do
Nah.
you navigate this in the sports world, because we put a lot of effort right into kids and sports and things like that. How would you
Yeah.
help young people navigate, you know okay, which direction should I go in?
Yeah. You have to be real with yourself.
Yeah.
I remember back when I was playing sports, in the city of Detroit, I sacrificed a lot, and I ate, slept, and drank sports nonstop. And I sacrificed having a girlfriend. I sacrificed spending time with the family.
Right.
I wasn't out in the streets playing with my friends all the time because I was constantly training or doing things to get myself in position to obtain the scholarship. So I got the scholarship, right? I go on to Kentucky State, and then the same thing. I had the same mindset, staying focused, doing all I could to put in that extra work.
Mm-hmm.
So I was real with myself that, hey, I got a legitimate shot because I had the talent,
Mm-hmm.
but I needed to make sure that the work ethic was at the highest level, because I wasn't playing Division I ball. I was playing Division II.
Okay.
Which means that if you go Division I, you got a greater opportunity to get the exposure.
Exposure.
But that doesn't mean that you have that I don't have an opportunity. I just got to make sure that I'm working as hard as I could, because my exposure or my visibility or opportunities are smaller, which means I got to be prepared when they present themselves.
Right.
So a lot of times kids don't want to invest in that sweat equity, and they don't want to really work harder than their teammates because they may gauge themselves as far as their skill level and say, well, I'm the best on the team, so I'm good. You may be the best on that team, but that does not necessarily mean that you're the best, let's say, in that county or in that state. And that's the type of work ethic and the type of effort you have to put into when you're trying to really become a professional athlete. Now, if you don't have the talent level and you just dreaming, again, you got to be realistic, and you may want to consider, what else am I good at? But if you do want to be a professional athlete, you only get one shot at this. So you have to give it your all. In my senior year of college, you know, a little backstory about me, you know, I was a virgin superstar athlete all the way through high school and college. And then in my senior year of college, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, you know the saying, when you play with fire, you get burned. Oh, you can spend a night over my house this night, or I'll spend a night over your house that night. Next thing you know, you go from this virgin superstar athlete in college, and boom, you're an expectant father. Well, when that happened, I had a choice to make. I said, okay, do I quit ball and just take care of my responsibility, or do I leverage this as an opportunity to take this as motivation to go harder, to make sure that I make this situation as comfortable as possible for all parties involved. And that's what I did. I worked my tail off. I mean, I trained 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day, to get myself in position to give myself a shot. And ultimately, I reached that goal of becoming a professional arena football player, and you know, did some NFL scouting and things like that. But I was determined, I was focused, I was locked in. So if you want this, you really got to be willing to put in that 110% effort, and also keep in mind that situations are going to come up, challenges are going to come up. Don't let them be a stumbling block. Allow them to be a stepping stone.
With the underdog mentality, you're going to have people that will doubt your ability to do stuff, that will, you know, tell you can't do it, or because of where you came from, you're not able to do it. How do you overcome not your low expectations, but maybe the expectations of others?
That's a great question. You know, coming from the city of Detroit, out of the hood, you know, statistics say that I wasn't supposed to make it out of the hood, right?
Absolutely.
You look at my neighborhood, I'm probably 1 or 2% of those that actually went on and played, you know, collegiate sports and then go on to play professional sports. But you know, you have to really believe in yourself. You know, people are going to always have expectations. I don't care if you're working a 9 to 5. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur. Regardless, anything that we do, someone else has like a measurement that they're wanting to place on our, you know, talent level or our skill set. And you have to know that what God has for you is for you. And you can do all things through Him who strengthens you. So yes, there's going to be opportunities for you that present themselves where you're going to be like, man, I don't think I can do this. Don't listen to that voice. Don't listen to that voice, because that voice will always be there if you allow it to stop you, and if you allow it to slow you down. Trust me, it's detrimental. You have to constantly tell yourself, I can do this. You have to speak positivity and have affirmations over your life. And that's in the book as well, where I talk about how I used to literally listen to gospel music before a baseball game or a football game, because I wanted to have that in my spirit, have that in my mind before I took the field, so that I can believe that, all right, God, me and you about to do something special today. And we did some special things on that field.
Right. All right, cool. One last thing. I'm currently on my second go round of trying to complete my book. I'm on the 5th go round of trying to get back healthy again and working out and exercising. What is your key to getting things done, to making sure your follow through is just as good as your startup?
That's a topic that, I kid you not, I struggled mightily with it, and I had to just really focus on discipline.
Okay.
There's an acronym that I came up with not too long ago, and it's kind of corny, but it's called GOOYOW, GOOYOW.
Okay.
Get out of your own way.
Okay.
And oftentimes we'll really keep ourselves from going to the next level because we'll listen to Kenny or we'll listen to Rashard, and it's like, listen, we need to tap ourselves on the shoulder and say, excuse me, I have somewhere I'm trying to go in life.
Right.
And so it took me having to literally write down every day the day before, what I wanted to accomplish the next day, and then hold myself accountable to that. And then also giving myself time frames when I wanted to achieve certain things, because you can say you want to do eight things tomorrow, but if you don't put time frames or deadlines on those items, they could mess around and spill over into the next day.
Right.
So telling yourself, it's not about me. I'm doing this because I'm trying to be the best version of myself, but somebody needs to see you win.
Right.
And that's why I decided that it was time for me to complete this book. It was time for me to put it out, because there's so many other people that are saying, hey, I have a book that I'm writing, or hey, I wanted to do that and I never did it. But seeing you do it, it has given me the motivation to resume writing or to begin writing. And now I'm in a position to help give them guidance along this path. And as far as the getting back into shape, maximize your day. Like every day should be, I have this technique inside of the Underdog Mentality. It's called the 4 Ps. Okay. Every single day I have prayer, Proverbs, praise and worship, and physical activity. That's a non-negotiable in my life every single day. And it's called the 4 Ps. Cool. Something very simple, something very practical that I've been able to share and sow into the lives of others. And it's actually helping, and it's working, and people are seeing the results.
Cool. All right, man. Well, it's been a good interview session, good session. The Underdog Mentality is available, right?
Yes.
Tell the people how they can get the Underdog Mentality and how they can keep up with Kenny Hampton.
So the Underdog Mentality, Keys to Defeating Life's Giants, is available at www.kennyrhampton.com. That's KENYRHAMPTON.com. You'll be able to learn more about me, hear things about that I'm doing in the community. You'll also be able to find me on all social media platforms at Kenny R. Hampton. Stay tuned for more that will be coming out. We have speaking opportunities as well. If you would love for me to join you as far as a keynote or doing anything with mentoring, hey, reach out and I'll be more than willing to provide that service for you and your organization.
Good. Final thought on the Underdog Mentality, and we'll be heading out.
So everyone, we're underdogs to something, but God has placed it in my life to sow some practical keys that is going to allow us to identify those giants, defeat these giants, so that we can transition from underdogs to favorites. Because at the end of the day, we have to trust and believe that all these things that we're going through is all working together for our good.
Great. Again, thank y'all for joining us on the Virtual Book Club. Stay tuned. Every Tuesday, 6 o'clock, we'll be right here. And I want you to share this even right now. Share this with some young people who need some encouragement, some words of advice that will help them to get through life. And again, I want you to all know that we're in this thing together. Stay strong, stay safe, stay safe. God bless you.